President, the Presidential Medal of Freedom is our nation's highest civilian honor, presented to men and women who have, quote, made an especially meritorious contribution to the security or national interest of the United States, world peace, cultural, or other significant endeavors, unquote. It is the highest honor a civilian of the United States can achieve. In all, recipients have included 7 presidents, 9 Supreme Court justices, countless members of Congress, first ladies, military leaders, lawyers, artists, athletes, civil rights leaders, doctors. It is the list of the best of America. And it's a diverse list. The recipients come from all backgrounds, all walks of life. But they all have one thing in common. They've dedicated their lives to achieving excellence and serving causes greater than themselves. On November 24th, next week, Bonnie Carroll, a proud Alaskan, will join this honor roll when she is presented with the Presidential Medal of Freedom at a White House ceremony. It is certainly an exciting time for all of us in Alaska. We are so proud of Bonnie, who just happens to be here tonight in the gallery. So let me tell you, Mr. President, a little bit about Bonnie Carroll, a woman of determination, perseverance, honor, and strength. And you can't talk about Bonnie without talking first about how she met her husband, Tom, which in many ways, in tragic ways that I'll get to, led to the great work that she has done for a grateful nation. In 1988, Bonnie was working at the White House when news broke that 3 whales were trapped in the ice off the coast of Alaska. Now, Mr. President, I know this doesn't happen in your state that often, but in Alaska we have certain challenges that a lot of other states don't have. She picked up the phone to see what could be done, and on the other line was her future husband, Alaska Army National Guard Colonel Tom Carroll, who worked with many others to help rescue the whales. This was part of a love story between Bonnie and Tom, and part of a story so unique that what happened up in Alaska actually caught the attention of Hollywood. You can see their love story portrayed in the film The Big Miracle. It's a great film about this. But for the Carrolls, the story didn't end with the saving of the whales. Unfortunately, their story, in many ways happy, but also did not have a so-called Hollywood ending. As I mentioned, unfortunately, far from it. After they were married in 1992, Colonel Tom Carroll of the Alaska National Guard died in an Army C-12 plane crash in the mountains of Alaska. 7 other top Alaska National Guard members were tragically lost that day. It was a horrible tragedy for America, for Alaska, for the Carroll family, and all the other families that suffered loss, tragic loss, that day in Alaska. After the crash, Bonnie realized that there were no organizations established in this country to help people like her who had lost loved ones, military members and family members who had lost military members like the day of that crash. So what she did was amazing after that. What she did was heroic. She took her grief, her deep grief, and put it to use for the rest of us. Just 2 years after her husband's tragic death, Bonnie founded the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, also known as TAPS. The idea for TAPS came in part as a result of her consultations with former Senator Ted Stevens, another great Alaskan, another great American, who would also tragically die in a plane crash in Alaska as well. But here's the amazing thing. Here's why Bonnie is being so honored by the President next week. Since 1994, her organization, TAPS, has offered support to the families of our military members that we have lost. 50,000 surviving military family members and their caregivers have benefited from the services of TAPS, which Bonnie founded. 50,000. Think of the grief and think of what she's done across America to soothe grieving families. Among its services, TAPS provides a variety of grief and trauma resources, including seminars for adults and a summer camp for children in Alaska, to help the families heal, to help them work through their grief. I've heard many of these stories, and you can't help but be touched and moved by the power of what TAPS does to help Americans, family members of our military, work through some of the most difficult times they have. And for years, those of us in the military and those of us in Alaska have known how Bonnie's work, the work of TAPS, has been healing the families throughout this country of those we have lost, our heroes who have been defending this country. We've known in the military, we've known in Alaska, and Mr. President, as of Tuesday, the world will know when Bonnie is presented with this incredible honor at the White House. As she puts it, quote, "Out of an Alaskan tragedy came hope and healing for tens of thousands of our military families." So for the work that she does with the families of our heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice for all of us, Bonnie Carroll is utmost deserving of this great honor. She is a great Alaskan, a great American, who has made us all very proud. Congratulations, Bonnie. Mr. President, I yield the floor.